Hi everybody, and welcome to Meals with Melissa, where I give you healthier versions of things that you love to eat. Now, these are one of my favorite things from when I was a kid. You know, you'd go to the restaurant and you'd sit down and you open the menu, and of course as a kid, you always want an appetizer, right? And I love mozzarella sticks, love dipping them in like the pizza sauce or the mozzarella sauce. However, probably not your best option when it comes to your health goals. So I'm gonna offer you an opportunity to have the thing that you love to eat in a healthier version. So today we're gonna make mozzarella sticks. And yeah, I guess you could call them deep fat fried, but I'm not really frying them deep, and I'm not frying them with horrible fat. We're gonna use some coconut oil today, because personally I like to use coconut oil for many reasons, because of the nutritional value, but I also love that it has a higher smoking point, so I can heat it up a little hotter than things like olive oil, and it won't burn or make the oil go bad really fast. So we're gonna make these today. It's super easy. I've already started it. Now I'm gonna make you a half batch. I'm going to include the full batch recipe. I just like to make a half batch because I make some before so I can show you, and some during the show. Right, okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I am going to take, first of all, I've got my coconut oil heating on the stove. You want the temperature to be at about 325 to 375 because you don't want to overdo them. The author had issues with the mozzarella cheese leaking out when she first started this, so she kind of got it down to a little bit of science. Now we are frying them on the stove in coconut oil, but you could also air fry these anywhere from about 350 to 400 degrees for about 5 to 7 minutes. Probably gonna have to test it out a little bit and see what works best for you. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut several pieces of string cheese in half. And I'm gonna make my little bit of healthier batter, which is low carb and gluten-free. So, which works great for me because I don't do gluten. All right, so I'm gonna grab my scissors, which I've stuck here somewhere. Okay, now I've already got a pan ready to go that has some wax paper on it. No parchment today, using wax paper because I'm not using it in the oven. All right, so I'm gonna cut these in half. And then I'm gonna make up my batter and get them ready to go. And then I'm actually gonna freeze them for an hour. So I do have a batch waiting to go straight in the oil. All right, so I'm gonna cut these in half with some, these are my cheap kitchen scissors, shears, whatever you wanna call them. All right, so those are ready to go. Now I'm gonna take a bag, which I'm gonna grab from over here. Actually, I think I have one over here already somewhere. There it is, got it, okay. Sorry, in and out of frame today because my tripod just decided to die. So I have my little tiny one and it's stacked up here so that you can see what I'm doing, but it's not quite as helpful when it comes to trying to show you what I'm making. All right, so I'm gonna take a Ziploc bag, and in this I'm going to put 1/8 cup, which actually is 2 tablespoons, just so you know, it makes it a lot easier, of almond flour, which I have here straight from the store. The nice thing about almond flour, coconut flour, both of what we are using today, they're actually much easier to find at your local grocery store these days than they used to be. So I'm going to do 2 tablespoons, if I can open it today. Apparently I should have had that one ready. All right, I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons or 1/8 cup of almond flour. I got it, all right. 2 tablespoons. Now the fun part about the Ziploc bag is it makes it super easy, not just to make these, but also to clean up, which I, of course, love. All right, so to that, I'm going to add 1/8 cup or 1/8 cup or 2 tablespoons of grated Parmesan, just, you know, the cheap stuff you get from the store. Mix that in there as well. And honestly, this is the kind you want to use. You don't want the grated kind, the fresh grated kind, because it's not gonna stick to your mozzarella sticks. All right, this one's almost out. I have a little bit more out in the other fridge, but I didn't want to have to go get it. Yeah, those of us that food prep tend to have more than one fridge. And no, it's not a beer fridge. It's just an outside fridge that has everybody's food prep food. Yeah, that's what it is. All right, so to that, I'm also going to add, double checking my recipe here, a 1/2 tablespoon of coconut flour. And the funny thing is, we have a ton of coconut flour on hand because a friend of mine a year or so ago gave me a huge batch of it, and we're just slowly going through it when we need it. All right, so I'm gonna do 1/2 tablespoon of coconut flour. I highly recommend you use both. Both almond and coconut have different textures, so you're gonna wanna make sure that you get a little bit of each. Coconut flour actually absorbs more moisture, so it's kind of beneficial as you're cooking these. All right, just checking my oil down, make sure it doesn't get too hot too fast. All right, so also to this, I'm going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Okay, unfortunately, you know, stuff we have around the house. And honestly, I'm just gonna dump it in. I'm not gonna actually measure it because there's not a lot left, and I'm probably just gonna use most of it anyway. All right, cool. And then also I'm going to add some garlic powder. So I need a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder as well. Totally prepared, can't you tell? No, I made a batch of these last night and tested them. Phenomenal, right? Especially when sometimes when you're making healthier versions of things, it doesn't really turn out quite the same. It doesn't necessarily taste as good. So, you know, when you find something that works great, it gets pretty exciting. And there are almost everything that you love, there is a healthier version that you can make. Okay. So I'm going to put that in there. Make sure I got it all. I got a little bit of salt. You need to add a little bit of salt. I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of, let's see. Yes, a half a teaspoon of salt. And then I'm just going to shake it up and mix it up. And then I'm going to add an egg, a whole egg to my bowl. Now here's the cool thing. You know, I know that you're working with your macros, which is super important. So if you need to do, honestly, these are low carb. When you do low carb, you need higher fats. That's kind of the point. You know, fats, a long time ago, about 2 decades ago or so, were totally vilified. You know, they came to the conclusion that fat makes you fat, which is incorrect. Dietary fat and adipose tissue are not the same thing. What causes us to gain fat is usually simple sugars because it spikes our insulin, which then tells our body to store. So really, if you're doing low carb, you really do need to do higher fats. So that's kind of why I like this option, because it's also keto friendly, right? So if you needed to, however, you could use skim mozzarella cheese. You could use egg whites instead of full egg like I'm going to do now. I'm going to move my oil off of here just for a minute because it's getting a little too hot. But I am going to use a whole egg, but you could use egg whites for this part as well. All right, so... All right, I'm gonna mix that egg up, get that really nice and scrambled, whatever you wanna call it, beaten in the egg. Take out some aggression on the egg, I guess. All right, then what I'm gonna do, super easy. You're just gonna egg wash your string cheese. And then you're going to mix it in the baggie. Look at it, it's already made, it's good to go. I would do this over putting it in a bowl and mixing it, because this is a whole heck of a lot easier. All right, so I'm going to throw my mozzarella cheese in there. Totally ready to go. I'm going to use my fork to roll that around, and then I'm going to throw it in my baggie. Now, once you can also double batter this. One of the things, you want to make sure that it's coated nice and well so that when it deep fries, that the cheese isn't melting out of it because it's not covered. We're also going to throw these in the freezer for the same reason. Now, if you're going to double coat them, honestly, you could probably just double coat them pretty quickly, but they do recommend that you wait a half an hour, put it back in the freezer for about a half an hour if you're going to double coat it. So do them, put them in the freezer for an hour, let them freeze. You're going to do a second coat them, put them back in the freezer for another half an hour. Then you can deep fry them. Okay, there's one. Looks pretty good. Got a pretty good coating there. I probably would double coat these. Okay, but I do have some ready to go. So let me show you how this is going to work. I'm going to put my oil back on the stove. Hopefully you can see, again, tripod troubles. Let me get the ones out of the freezer. They are ready to go. All right. So again, the benefit of freezing these is so that the cheese doesn't melt too fast while they are frying. Okay, so I'm putting my oil back on here. I'm gonna use my fork and rinse it just really quick so I don't have to get another one. All right. So you're just gonna take these and you're just gonna just put them in until they brown on both sides a little bit. You might have to take a couple of test tries to make sure that you get them so that they look nice and brown and that they do cook all the way through, okay? Because that we tried that last night. All right, putting that in the oil. Yeah, it needs to heat back up for a second. So let's let that do that before I throw it in there. So again, what a great opportunity. If you have friends coming over, if you want something for the game, you know, I find it really interesting that people for the Super Bowl, like, I have to drink beer and eat pizza. I'm like, okay, but there is a healthier way to do this. You can find some healthier recipes and make it great and still have a great time and not ruin your health goal. Now, if you like to dip them in pizza sauce like I do, you can make your own. The problem with spaghetti sauces and pizza sauces today are that they have way too much sugar in them. If you've noticed, they put sugar in everything, and you want to know why that is? They want you to buy more and get addicted to it. Sugar it's an addictive substance. So you can make your own. Just go get some tomato paste or some tomato sauce. There's many, many recipes out there, and add your own spices to them. And if you have to have a little bit of sweet, you can use a better option, such as a better sugar substitute, like either stevia or monk fruit. Those are my two favorites. Okay, let's see if it'll heat up just a little bit there. Yeah, you want it to be hot enough so that they don't do weird things, right? You want to get them just to the right temperature so that they'll fry and then they'll look good. I did have some made last night to show you, and everybody ate them, so that is not an option today. I will include the recipe down below. And listen, guys, if you have a great recipe that you'd love to share, whether it's an appetizer or whether it's a breakfast option or dinner, or even great vegetable recipe. I find that that's probably the hardest one to get people to eat is vegetables. And I always tell them it's because A, you don't know how to make them so they taste good, and B, you've gotten your taste buds so used to hyper palatable foods. That just means foods that they have scientifically constructed to be addicting. That's what it is. It's very, very, they bring it to the bliss point. It tastes amazing, right? So you want more. Okay, so let's give that a second. Let's use a different one here and see if it's, kind of test it. Ah, there we go, perfect. I wish you could see that. I know it's not a great angle, and if I pick up my tripod, I'm gonna mess something up. I got another one ordered. It's okay. I got another one ordered. It's gonna show up tomorrow. So use my itty bitty tripod. All right. So these are awesome. They taste great, and again, they're low carb and gluten free because you're not using any sort of breadcrumb. You're just using the alternative flours, which are great. And again, you should be able to find them at your local grocery store. And if not, use Amazon. Not my fave, but use Amazon. All right. It's a great option for people who are rural and don't have some of these things available to them. All right. So I'll just check it. It needs just a few more seconds. Again, my goal is to get them cooked nice all the way through without them leaking out. Again, you can put them in the oven. They just don't turn out as crisp, even if you broil them. You also have the option, it might leak out as well, or your air fryer, which is phenomenal. If you don't have an air fryer, you are missing out on a great, easy way to cook your food. All right, I'm gonna flip those over. Oh, perfect. Perfect. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna make these and then my son's gonna eat them all, which is just fine. You know if your kids will eat them, you've made a great option for your family. All right, I'm gonna grab a plate really quick. So something to put these on as soon as they're done because they're not gonna take very long, and I will show them to you in just a second. I wanna show you at least one set, and then you can go make them on your own and see what you think. The great thing is string cheese is reasonable in cost. You might be doing a little bit of an investment for the coconut flour and the almond flour, but again, once you have them on hand, they're gonna last a while. We don't go through them very, very fast in my house. All right, almost there, almost there, almost there, almost there. And like I said, I tasted it. They are awesome. Okay. If you guys have any questions, comments, or if you try these and you love them, leave a comment down below, or you can message me directly. I do respond as long as people aren't creepy. I know I say that a lot, but you'd be so amazed at how many weird things people text me and message me with. All right, so these are just about done. I just want to show them to you really quickly before we sign off for today. Got one leaking out a little bit, but not enough to care. There we go. Again, of course, whenever we're working with oil, be careful that you don't burn yourself. That is not fun. I'm going to just try to get these ends just toast really quick. Toasty there. I'm probably going to add some more oil before I do next round because I want the edges to get, the ends of the string cheese to get done. But there you go. Look at it. Look, it's a healthier version. Something that you might love to eat. So if you love cheese like I do, and this might be a great option for you, try it out, see what you think, and amaze your friends. Have an incredible day, you guys. Until next weekend, that is Meals with Melissa. Have an incredible day.